Not everybody's cut out to be a business owner and an entrepreneur. Maybe 2 out of the 10 people, this may be for you. But if you feel you're at that 2 out of the 10, you really think about creating or starting something that doesn't exist. Chances are you're probably that 2 out of the 10 that needs to be in this entrepreneurial space. The entrepreneurship world is you're always looking in the dark. You're looking to go into spaces you've never been. Just take steps forward and just go in on it and just see where it goes. Time is gonna pass and just thinking, man, I should have did something. I should have tried.
If you're dreaming of launching a business but feel unsure where to begin, you've come to the right place. Today, I'm honored to sit down with Charles Albert, also known as Photobooth CEO, founder of HNL Studios and HNL Photobooth Company. After serving 20 years in the military as a combat photographer, Charles transitioned into entrepreneurship. Over more than 11 years in the photo booth and events industry, he has worked on thousands of weddings and corporate activities, turning a side hustle into a multi-million dollar business. His platform, Photobooth CEO, helps entrepreneurs build profitable, purpose driven event businesses through tested systems, marketing strategies, and mentorship. In this episode, we'll unpack Charles's journey, explore how he escaped being the bottleneck in his own operations, and learn how he's scaling beyond just doing events. We'll also dive into his giving mindset and how he empowers others to succeed by sharing what he's learned. Charles, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. Thank you so much.
So, Charles, you spent 20 years in the military and worked as a combat photographer. Can you take us back to that time and explain how that experience shaped the way you do business today?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. So yeah, I was 20 years in the military, did 20 years in the Air Force. I jumped straight into the military right out of high school. A recruiter came to Lahaina Luna High School in Maui. And back then, technology was emerging. And he showed me this PowerPoint presentation. And I was like, what is that? Like, what is this technology? The graphics are moving. And he showed me about like how, we can get all this money for college. And I was like, okay, wow, if you can do that, sign me up. And so I was able to jump into the Air Force. I got into a tech career with the Air Force doing the internet. Internet was still emerging at that time. I'm doing like tech maintenance and internet, that type of stuff. And that was an amazing career. I traveled a lot. And eventually, after about maybe 8, 9 years in, I started to miss home a lot. I started, just being out in the mainland and being in Asia. I started to miss home a lot, wanted to come back home, kind of build some roots. And I wanted to go to college. So I ended up going to Manoa using my school money, and I just never left. So I've been here on Oahu for that long, for most of my career. And then about 2014, I got deployed to the Middle East and I was asked to be a combat photographer. Being able to take photos for the officers and being able to document it. And it was an amazing time. Like, I just really enjoyed my experience being able to be a photographer. And I never really had, thought about business at all, back before then. Maybe I had a little bit of side hustles. I kind of maybe bought and sold, things on like Facebook Marketplace or like Craigslist back then. But I never really had my own business. But I loved photography so much that coming back from the deployment, I asked my wife, I was like, hey, I really want to be able to do this more when I get home from this deployment. And I ran into an article that talked about photo booths. And this was still kind of early on the photo booth trend. And, I was talking to my wife and thinking like, hey, what if we got this photo booth thing and started doing photography as an add-on, as an option? And we prayed about it, for a few months, trying to see if this was something we should actually pull the trigger on. And so we bought the machine, we started the photo booth company, and we realized just how fruitful this company and this photo boothing was. When we started to see the demand and people were booking us, we were able to begin to build a business quickly with photo booths. And so, it kind of evolved into just being able to offer more services. It evolved into being able to do photography, videography, DJ, MC, production, lighting. And we started to grow our team and our services, providing these types of high quality great experiences here in Hawaii. And so that's how our businesses in Hawaii grew.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So we talked about as your business grew, you became the bottleneck in your own business. So when did that realization occur, and how did you manage getting through that challenge?
Right, right. And for most entrepreneurs, you kind of know this, that you do feel a pressure, right? You do feel a pressure in your business that I need to be able to do this. I have to get this done. And if this doesn't get done, I don't make that sale. This doesn't happen. I can't get that contract. I can't get that booking. I can't get that client. And when that happens, where your business functions stop because of you, that's when you become a bottleneck, right? Where you're the last point in where it will pass or fail, right? And I started to begin to feel a lot of this in our businesses. I have an amazing wife and two kids, and one of the things I value being an entrepreneur is being able to spend time with them. But I started to notice that I my business demanded more from me that was taking away time from my family and from my friends, and I started to begin to resent my business, right, because of what it was doing to me in my personal life. We were going through some marital struggles at that time, and I was trying to justify myself being away so much, right? But again, through just the help with some mentors and some people that were just really pouring into me and just have much more experiences to help show me how to begin to not become the bottleneck and not be the one that has to be there at your business. And so I began to go on a journey on how to be able to begin to free myself for the sake of my family. But it actually happened was actually I learned how to scale my businesses.
What kind of systems are you using to scale your businesses? We talked about standard operating procedures. We talked about leveraging different apps. We also talked about delegating and utilizing assistants that may not be based in Hawaii.
Yeah. So the question is, how do we begin to build those systems? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, so a system is only good if it works. And so it has to have a goal, right? What are we trying to do? And so when we would first kind of try to begin to look at our problems and what we have. And the biggest problem at the time was me, meaning that I was overworked, I was the bottleneck, I was the one having to do things. And I began to look at things that would be able to help me get out of it, right? To be able to free up my time and allowed me to focus on the things I wanted to focus. So when it comes to building yourself out of it, I think about it in two ways. There's either a system or a person that can replace you. Okay, a system or a person that can replace you, or both, a mixture of both. And so with that, you would begin to look at a system. So many businesses have different needs. So it's hard to really pinpoint what system is actually best. But for many companies, that do work with leads, lead generation, sales, having a very high quality and very suitable CRM system, like a client relation management system, is very, very important. And something that you really want to be able to build out, right? And just kind of like the grease to the gears that kind of makes things kind of go smoothly, where you're able to follow up with leads. But also CRMs and systems allows you to easily bring on team. Again, I feel like I feel there's just different varying levels of where people are at, but just know that when you feel that you feel like that you're either overworked, just doing too much, there's usually you want to be able to look at a system or a person to replace you at a particular level. And there's even some places where you really want to be able to replace yourself completely. Because even if you're not doing the work, if you're not completely out of it, your mind will still think about it. Right? When people ask you questions, even though you're not technically the one doing it, you could be thinking about it for an hour or two or three, and it really taxes on you. And so there's places where you actually want to be able to completely rely on a person or a system to completely take that over. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, absolutely. Are you utilizing employees or people, right, uh, to outside of Hawaii to handle your work processes as well?
Yes, we do have a virtual team. I love virtual teams. They're very agile. They're very much, affordable, and they are able to really do a lot of things and have a lot of advantages over local team members.
We talked about this earlier as well. There's a lot of photographers, there's a lot of media companies, there's a lot of competition regardless what industry you're in, right? So how is it that you have positioned your premium brand to set itself apart from all the other the other competition?
Yeah, that's great. For sure. And that's a great question. And you said it right. The word is positioning, right? It is a position. And it's something for, if I'm speaking to the entrepreneurs, it's something that you have complete control over. And to make it really clear, positioning is how people see you and understand you. When they say your business name or they think of your company, what did they think about first? If they think about you, you are in an ideal position. And this is completely something that you can take hold of and control by what type of content you put out, the messaging that you have on your social medias, the type of copy that you have on your website, and how you show up on different avenues and TikTok and YouTube. They all contribute to your positioning. To really answer your question and how we've been able to position ourselves in a way is that we always shoot to be the best in our market when it comes to the position. So meaning when we're talking about either Google searches, we're aiming and shooting to be the number one company that people know, see, like, and trust. When we talk about YouTube, when people search for our services, we aim to be the number one people that see, know, like, and trust. When it comes to our social medias, do they see our content first, and are they following us, and are they really engaging with our content? These are the things that you aim for when wanting to plan and strategize your positioning. You want to aim to be the best, because it could be in 6 or 7 different platforms, but if you're just position number 6, you'll lose to somebody who has position number 1 in just one of the categories. Does that make sense? It's really
Yes.
not worth it to be just mediocre or just kind of in the middle, because that's where all the competition is. They're kind of like in the middle of the market. And so you want to aim to be that top spot. They say that 80% of your customers go to the top 20% of that industry, meaning 80% of the customers are only buying from just the top 20 providers and suppliers in that industry. And that's what you want to shoot for. It's not okay to be in the muddy middle, because that's where you're struggling with profits. You're struggling with building your team. You're struggling with marketing because you don't have a clear message. You just got to get out of the middle.
Got it. Makes sense. I've often in on your websites and in your different portals, I've seen you say this, and this is so true, right? Success isn't just about revenue, right? It's about service and helping others. And I think from my perspective, this is where your company and yourself have set itself apart from the competition, right? The amount of information contained on your website and your different portals is incredible. And your willingness to help people, including myself, right, along their journey, I think says a lot about the character of yourself and your company. And I wanted to, if you could elaborate a little bit on how how did that come about? How did that, I want to say, a giving mindset come about in your journey?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for sharing that, and I really appreciate that. I know when people first start businesses, they kind of feel they have a little bit of passion in something, and they're really trying to kind of make that money, right? They're trying to get that dollar, and they're trying to get that profit, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? But just know that when you're going for profits first, it doesn't really end well for many people. It's because we're just going after the wrong thing. We're kind of going into it with a limited mindset, right? We're kind of putting blinders that I'm just going for the cash, right? And what I've learned, I kind of had to learn this the hard way, that this is not how to be successful in entrepreneurship. What you'll find is that most people who are doing well, that are succeeding, that are progressing, that are leaving a legacy, that are creating jobs, that are moving the needle, their goal is not money. Their goal is, they have a mission, they have a purpose, they have a reason why they're there, and what allows them to get up day in and day out, week after month after year after decade, because they have a purpose, they have a reason, they have something in them that is driving them to be a change in this world. And money just kind of comes from that. It kind of becomes a result of being able to give people something that they really want. And it takes a person who is wanting to give, to be able to do that. Okay, I know this is not something that they teach you on TikTok or Instagram, because they're just trying to get the views and all this kind of stuff. But if you talk to like real legit entrepreneurs, they're gonna tell you a different story, right? They're gonna tell you that they have a reason why. And so if you believe, that you are someone who has that spirit of wanting to be able to give, or that wants to be able to help others, you are in a good position to be a successful entrepreneur.
So I'm kind of going to put you on the spot here, Charles. Can you talk to us a little bit about your why and how that helped you build your business?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'm gonna lay it all out here. So for sure. And so me and my wife, we have a vision that was given to us, and we feel it's something that we need to shoot for, right? That it's something, there's a goal that we have, and it's to be able to create a real estate company that is able to create community spaces and be able to plant churches. That's what we're going for. Like, that is our end game and for our vision. And in that process, we're building businesses to be able to go towards that end. And so as we were really praying about it and really kind of trying to strategize what this looks like, what we know is that we can only do the best with what we have. We can only do the best with what we have. And because, I have a desire to help people, and want to be able to kind of give, I really started to look at my strengths and where I am. And one of the things that resonate with me, that I often tell my students, is that out of all the things we could be doing, right? We are the most gifted and blessed to be able to help the person we used to be. I'm going to say that again. We're usually gifted and more talented at being able to help the person we used to be. So, for example, if someone were to say they were interested in joining the Peace Corps, okay, going overseas and joining, I have no idea how to be able to help you. Okay, I have no idea. But if someone were to tell me, "Hey, Charles, I'm actually thinking about joining the Air Force, and I want to do something with my life," you bet I have all the resources to help you. Okay, I have all the experience to avoid the mistakes, to go through it in a successful way, and be able to achieve the things that you have. And so we really started to lean on that, right? What are the things that we are actually, who are the people we used to be, and how can we help them? Right? How can we help them? Because they exist. We're all in different stages of our life, right? And we're just really just taking a look back. Where were we 5 years ago? Where were we 7 years ago? And we've built businesses to help them. Does that make sense? We're building
Yes.
businesses to help them. And so as we begin to do that, right, providing them resources, providing them ways, providing them with the things that they've wanted all along, in that exchange, we're able to begin to fund our greater purpose and our mission. And so that's kind of where we are at currently with our businesses.
That that is awesome. So you've gone from profit to contribution, right? That's the end game. That's your why, is contribution. You want to fill that bucket, that that human need. That's awesome, man.
For sure. And if you do that, money will follow. And again, it's not about the money, it's not about the profits. It's just a result of what happens. It's almost like if you plant this tree of giving and helping, then the fruit of it is funds to be able to do things, right? That's kind of what it is. And to put it plainly, like if I have time to share this, if I were to tell you, I'm actually really good at cleaning out a toilet, meaning I'm able to really if you have a plug in your toilet, I can easily pull it out. Would you like to pay me $1,000? What do you think, Chris? Would you pay me $1,000 just with that knowledge?
It depends on the severity of that clog, right? Like,
So let's just say now the scenario is it's 2 a.m. And you hear the sound, okay, when you wake up in the morning. Okay. And all of a sudden you see this brown doo-doo water flooding through your bedroom. Okay. Smell it, you immediately know what it is, right? And it begins to kind of drip down into the other rooms, and it's starting to get up all into your furniture and your flooring. It's soaking in and all that stuff. And then you're like, hey, wait a minute, I know a guy, that does toilets. I'm gonna hit him up, right? My friend Charles. And you call me and I'm like, hey, what's up, man? You're calling. And like, yeah, I need help. My house is being flooded with doo-doo water. And I have all this amazing furniture and flooring that's gonna get ruined, and it's gonna, do a lot of damage. And I was like, hey Chris, you know what? I actually been to your house. I know what your system looks like. And I know exactly what the problem is. It's just something I do when I go to people's houses. I kind of tend to look at their systems. And the problem is this. And you know what? I actually have a part I can replace, and I can come over and fix it within the next 20 minutes. But it'll be $1,000 to be able to do it because of the part. Are you willing to do that?
I'm
And
Venmoing you right now, Charles. See you in 20
right,
minutes.
for sure. And so the skills were the same, right? The skills and the offer was actually the same, but now you have this problem that you need help with. And so when entrepreneurs, when you can really hone in on that problem and be wanting to be able to fix it for them before they even knew you, that's where profits come from. Is really knowing who it is that you serve and being ready to give it to them when they need it. And I'm sure you know this, right? I'm kind of speaking to the choir just with so many businesses that you have, but it's really that, for those that are just really early, like, I don't know what should I be doing? What should I be doing? Just get into something and find out what problem you can solve, and you'll be.
I completely understand. That's exactly what we do for all our businesses, right? It's all about positioning and timing and meeting that urgent need,
That's right.
right? Yeah. So also I wanted to ask you, right, what your thoughts are, because one of the things that our companies have been struggling with is continuing to grow on the island of Oahu, because a lot of our businesses are brick and mortar, and we're having difficulty and some challenges scaling beyond Oahu. And I'm wondering if you've had those same challenges and how you've overcame those challenges.
Yeah. So I guess it comes down to, like, I guess because you know your challenges well in your businesses, what do you believe is the actual goal? Like, what would you like to accomplish if you were to kind of answer that question?
If I was to take, say, our wireless business,
Hmm.
I would like to service people outside of Oahu. I would like to be able to connect to people that require new phones or repaired phones on the Big Island, on Maui, in Florida, in Japan, because we're talking about the same device, right?
Hmm.
It's just about timing,
Hmm.
right? Convenience, right? Or what could we perhaps offer them that is unique to our location on
Hmm.
Oahu? Sometimes it might be like a phone case, right? Because when somebody breaks their phone or loses their phone and needs to have it replaced, it's urgent, right? It needs to happen right now. They
Hmm.
can't wait the 2 days for us to airship the device to them.
Hmm.
However, there's certain things like a phone case that might be unique to Hawaii that that customer would possibly be willing to wait for. I hope that answers your question.
Right. So, okay. And when you mean by reaching out, you're talking about like people to get when they begin to upgrade their phones, like just standard phone sales, right? For sure. And so what I typically do, again, I'm not an expert in this industry, right? But you do understand the limitations of just being on an island, and because you have the capability to be able to service outside of Oahu, you want to be able to try to, begin to capitalize on this. And so I always begin with kind of just more of the bottom of the funnel, like the process, the way people are actually converted into a customer, and looking at what my offer is. What is it exactly? You kind of hit it there, right? What is it? Why would people want to buy it from me over, if let's say we have an avatar that's located in the Big Island, why would they buy it from me over T-Mobile, Verizon, or whatnot? Like, why would they get it from me, right? They have the name, they have the trust. What would make it better, easier, faster? And so I would, number one, I would say it'd be like, what is the speed of being able to get it? Speed is usually something that you can try to do faster than these bigger companies typically, because you have the resources to, and so, I feel like that's a big need cell phone users have, right? Can I get it? Can I get it now? How long can I get it? What does it take? Do I have to talk to somebody? Blah blah blah. And so, and then figuring out like what would actually get them to choose you over T-Mobile, Verizon, going straight to a website or something like that, right? What would that be? Because then you need some kind of competitive advantage, right? That will set you apart over going over that, and it has to be very clear, because you're gonna begin to build a new level of your business, and so you want this competitive advantage to be truly an advantage, so you can test it when you kind of begin to build this competitive advantage. You need to actually have real data to know what people are doing. And you'll know, like you'll absolutely know when you have a competitive advantage when only 5 people bought it on the Big Island this month. That's probably not a strong competitive advantage. But when 100 people or 200 people or 500 people are buying it this month, there is clearly an advantage of what it is. So it's really trying to be able to find what is your competitive advantage. And when you find it, now it's just a marketing game, right? Is really how many people can I tell about this competitive, and you have to know it works, right? You have to know that this is clearly something better, easier, faster, better, or maybe again, just kind of, I'm not sure if you're thinking about this, but what is something completely different that none of the big companies offer, right? But I would actually, because the market is so big, there are, as far as getting cell phones, repairing cell phones, I would go after that market first versus trying to offer a new product that they don't offer. I hope that I trust this is helping, and hopefully it's something that that was new. What are your thoughts?
No, I think so. What I'm thinking right now is I'm looking at your business, right? So you did photo booth in on Oahu, right? And very successful at it, but kind of difficult to get your photo booth to California, Japan, right? And book something over there without having an office and another photo booth in that location. So what you did was you went out and started coaching and showing people how to create their own business, their own successful business, their own successful photo booth business, right? And you helped those people become successful. And in doing so, you also profited yourself. Is that right? So that's what I'm trying to learn, right? I'm trying to take what you've done and apply it to my industry, right? So I'm not sure yet how to apply it, but there's got to be a way that we could perhaps monetize teaching other people how to build a repair business or a phone sale business as well.
Yeah, 100%. So yes. So number one, it kind of starts with like you as a person. Like for me, when I was talking about, I feel one of the things that I feel I'm gifted at, and I have strategic advantages is in teaching. Meaning I taught my team, I kind of raised them up, and something I enjoy. It's something that I want to see. I feel like there's something innate in me that wants to see people's dreams become a reality. Like I feel like that's what I'm kind of locked in on personally. So I knew that there was something there, right? And so out of the many things that you can look at, there is a rise of the creator economy, right? The creator economy where we're creating content on Instagram, TikTok. And the two, I guess, genres of creator economy that are currently popular and dominating is entertainment and education. Entertainment and education. Those are the two types of genres that have been dominating the content economy. And I look at people on there who I feel I resonate with, that are teaching business, that are offering options. And so when that happens, right, when you kind of align your skill sets, your desires with a business planner, business type, it allows you to kind of really say yes or no. Like, am I going to do that? Right. And I started to strategize what is my competitive advantage. So when you begin to start to create and teach, there is many, the options of monetization are just actually completely endless compared to having a brick and mortar business. Okay. It really is a lot, because you have the product that you are offering to many people when you begin to create educational content is the viewership, the people that are watching, and there's ways to begin to monetize that. And so I'm not sure if this conversation is drifting there, but I'll go there as far as what this means. One, I went all in because it really is something I enjoy. It's something I enjoy doing, and it's something that I felt was really working with my guests. But two, the monetization, like you see when you look at business content on social media, not all of them are made equal. Okay. Not all of them are equal. But then you'll start to see that these people who have built standard businesses, like not content related, that are millionaires, billionaires, they are also creating content. Okay, they don't need to. They have like millions of dollars and billions of dollars, but there's a strategic advantage for them to be able to create content. And so I feel like if these billionaires and millionaires are willing to spend their time to be able to do this, there is something there that can begin to be unlocked. So again, I mean, I'd hate to go into like the nuts and bolts here, but there's a lot of ways to begin to monetize an audience. I can definitely dive into them if you want, but I guess, what are your thoughts so far on what I've talked about?
This is exactly what I mean, perhaps it's a different podcast in the future, right? But this is what I wanted to talk to you about selfishly, very selfishly, right? Because uh, I'm brick and mortar. We never made the jump, right, to providing or educating or creating content that could do that, and then monetize that content. So this is something that really interests me, because I believe that in the future, brick and mortar businesses that are successful today will not be successful tomorrow if they don't make that jump, that connection. So I'd love to learn about this. Perhaps we could table it for our next podcast in the future. Yeah. So in closing, for anybody watching for those watching our podcast, what kind of advice could you give our viewers if it was one thing? If they needed to just focus on one thing, what would it be?
For sure. And if for most of your viewers, who do you feel like, what do you feel they are? Like, where do you feel like they're at? And what are they trying to do? If you were to kind of say, because it kind of matters. Like, let's say somebody wants to lose weight, then I
Agreed.
would say, what is the first thing they should do to get fit or something? I guess, if you could give me a little more context.
Agreed. So, someone dreaming about opening their own business, somebody stuck in the day to day, 9 to 5, and dreaming about, hey, I think I can create content. I think I can educate. I'd like to monetize, right? Or somebody that's looking to open a business like a photo booth business, right? So, or a wireless business, right? Both of our businesses, the barriers to entry are pretty low, right? So there's people can do it. They can, get their credit card and load it up, buy whatever they need, and they can start the business from their house, right? Right. It's just taking that step, right? Having the courage to step into that unknown void, right? So if that was your audience, what would be the one thing they should focus on?
Yeah, for sure. Love that. Thank you for filling me in on that. I'm gonna start by saying not everybody's cut out to be a business owner and an entrepreneur. I'm going to say that one more time. It's really, and that's okay. That's completely okay, right? But I would say maybe 2 out of the 10 people, this may be for you. Okay, so that's pretty good odds that you are not cut out to be an entrepreneur. Okay, but if you feel you're at that, that 2 out of the 10, and I have these thoughts and these visions, and what it is if you feel that you really think about creating or starting something that doesn't exist, and it's something you think about, it's something that doesn't go away, chances are you're probably that 2 out of the 10 that needs to be in this entrepreneurial space. But there's so many things that hold you back. Right? There's so many fears and things that you are unsure about. And so when if you're at that place, what I would say is really start to understand who you are. Really understand, to really take the time. Like, is this me? Is this something that I really think about all the time? Is this something that I want to see? Do I feel like I want to accomplish this? And if that's true, you're gonna have a hard time staying at a job, because your mind's gonna drift, right? And so if you're at that place where these things are holding you back, really look at who you are. And then if you have a creator or a person that you believe in, pray to them, like ask, because you're gonna need it. You're gonna need that extra reason to go into the unknown, because that's what you're doing. The entrepreneurship world is you're always looking in the dark. You're looking to go into spaces you've never been. Okay,
right.
like
That's right.
24/7. This never goes away. There's never a time in my last 12, 13 years where I was like, I know exactly what I'm doing next month. Like it does, because we're just always pushing the boundaries and creating things that didn't exist, right? And if you feel that's you, I would really look into it and just begin to take small steps into those spaces. Just take steps forward and just go in on it, and just see where it goes. Because if that's you, and you feel like you're meant to be a business owner or entrepreneur, time is going to pass. A year is going to come past, 5 years is
Yep.
going to pass, 20 years is going to go past. You're going to be 50, 60 years old at your job and just thinking, man, I should have did something. I should have tried. For sure. I hope this is resonating.
Yep. Yep. I'm getting a little choked up here. Yeah. 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 Just take that leap
Take
into the
that
darkness.
leap. For sure. And there's people there, you don't have to do this alone. We're in the world of technology and social media, or go out to like a networking group, meet some other business owners. A common thing that I talk about with my students is, if you want to know your future, just look at your friends. Just look at who you're hanging out with. Are you hanging out with people that are you where you want to go? If not,
Yeah.
you should start to change your circle. And it's really strategically putting people in around you that either support you or are where you want to go. So I guess that's a tip. That's just like, when you get out of high school, if you hang around with the bad friends, right, you're going to go to bad places. But the opposite is true, that if you hang around the right people, you're going to go to places you want to go.
Yeah. Charles, I want to make sure our viewers know where to find you. Can you give us some pointers on where we can find your website, your YouTube channel, your social media?
Yeah, for sure. So our local companies we celebrate events, we celebrate the moments in your life, weddings, corporate activations, graduations. It's HNL Photobooth. We have an amazing team that are ready to help you party. We also have HNL Studios that does production, videography, photography for weddings and events. So we also do film production as well. And so you can contact us at HNL Studios. And then for those who want to follow the journey that I'm currently on with our photo booth, it's Photobooth CEO on YouTube. That's where we create videos that help people start businesses. If you're a service-based business providing services, I talk a lot about marketing, generating leads, booking clients, and that type of thing. So if you feel like you're a business that offers services, even if you're not in the events industry, you can find a lot of free value there as well.
Well, Charles, thank you very, very much for being with us today. I really appreciate you sharing your story. Yeah, we look forward to the next podcast.
Thank you, Chris. My pleasure. Completely my pleasure.